Interesting enough, Camp Hill is actually what started all the others. Like Dadeville and Waverly, they were super tiny and like they were basically like what Camp Hill is now. That's what they were. And then Camp Hill got built up because of a train depot, which is no longer there. And it's really sad. Did you see the pictures? It was gorgeous. Sorry, I told you I love buildings. It was a gorgeous building and it's gone. Like there's just a vacant lot now. The whole town was built up around that depot and it was thriving. And then when white flight happened, like they just left, and that kind of went out to where we are now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it tells a few stories, right? We often don't think much anymore about, like Lori's saying, those kind of rural, centers, those places that were this kind of cultural and economic centers for all the kind of communities around them. And I think that's one thing that kind of gets lost when we, with rural depopulation loss and people moving, right? We don't think about that. But I think there's also that piece. I mean, there's a way in which there's another way of telling history that I think is really important, where the Sharecroppers Union and the Camp Hill Massacre are central pieces of how we understand history in Alabama and in the South, of how early that struggle of what we now think of as the civil rights movement in the 50s and 60s, how early that was going on in places like Camp Hill, like Tallapoosa County more broadly, in this region more broadly. And so, yeah, for me, that's the other big kind of takeaway there, is that it does sort of force us to kind of reorient, how we think of history in Alabama and in the Southeast, if we pay attention to it.